All right, Run the North, week 12. Will and Jason here. Fun week, Thanksgiving football. Everyone loves it. Bears, big news out of the Bears. We can get into that. Vikings game just wrapped a few hours ago. They narrowly edge out the Cardinals 23-22. Let's get into it with some hot takes. I don't know that either of us have some hot takes. I have like a lukewarm-ish take. Do you want to get us started though, Jason?
My hot take is this was a shit week. I mean, honestly, you look at some of these teams. We talk about Kansas City coming in late. Like, can't keep getting away with it. The guy from Breaking Bad. You got Kirk with Kirk O'Chains with 4 picks, taking his team. So you got people already calling for Penix. I mean, this was like, I can't call them all trap games, but this was just a weird week. So we're due those every once in a while, but seeing that we're, in the back third here, get ready for playoffs, it's not what you want to see about some of these teams that are either trying to get a bit or trying to get something going as far as getting hot late.
Yeah, I agree. Similar vein for me. My knee jerk is just that the Chiefs are frauds. Like either between luck or the NFL rigging things in their favor. You see that last play of the game where that fumble is snapped by, or the snap is fumbled by Aiden O'Connell. And it's like there's a referee running onto the scene right away trying to call a false start, which would have nullified everything. And then they huddle, the game goes to break, and they decide, nope, actually that's live, and Kansas City just won. Just very suspicious behavior. I don't know if it's the Taylor Swift effect, where it's just like, hey, we got to keep these guys winning because women are like the biggest untapped market for the NFL, so we got to make sure all these women are having a good time. Golly, they just don't. Anytime I watch them, their offense does not look good. I don't know how they keep winning games. I hope they get bounced, but I think they're frauds.
Well, there's a bit to that too, given that it was the Black Friday game. If you're not out shopping, everybody's just kind of picking at the leftovers. Nothing better to do. Like in my family, we do nothing on purpose. Like we know that's a full day of sweatpants and BSing and
absolutely
all that type of
online
so,
shopping.
that's the only game on, right? But that's the only thing on TV, right? So maybe there is something to the league wanting that to happen. Not that they're going to ever say it, but I'm picking up what you're putting down there, boss.
Yeah.
All right. So we just finished watching the Vikings Cardinals game.
Mm-hmm.
You started off with, they won 23-22. I don't really want to give away anything. I'm going to let you have the thunder here, but start me off your thoughts on the game. Talk me through first what you were thinking going into it. And then just kind of as you got in the game, what was your stream of consciousness?
Yeah, I'll say this. I picked the Vikings to win in my Pick'em League earlier this week, and then right before the game, I tried to switch it, and I was just a little bit too late. I guess I thought they locked at the picks locked at kickoff, but I think they locked like 10 minutes before kickoff. I tried to change my mind literally 3 minutes before kickoff because I was just like, had this nagging feeling that Kyler Murray was going to be just scrambling around. We wouldn't be able to get a hand on him, and like we were just going to have one of those collapse games. And as the game progressed, I was like, yup, this is exactly what I expected. I don't think we had the one sack on Kyler Murray at the end, which was incredibly clutch with the strip sack. But the entire game, you just see him. He's just the squirreliest guy in the NFL, just small, agile, and has like the breakaway speed. So even if an edge rusher gets free and is chasing him, he can run away from him. And just all game, he tore us up. We couldn't keep him in the pocket. Whether we were doing man or running zone, receivers were just getting open, making plays. You have one play where the ball gets tipped up at the line, and one of those plays where like maybe 8 out of 10 times it results in an interception, but instead it falls into Michael Wilson's hands. Just seemed like one of those games that wasn't going to go our way. And then we pull it out at the end. It's credit to the team. They looked like they were losing all game. The only time they looked like they were winning were the last 2 series where the Vikings go down, score a touchdown, and then the defense gets that interception to shut the strip sack and then the interception to close it out. Didn't really feel like win in that like we were losing most of the game. You look at the little win probability tracker. I don't even know what website does that, but it just shows the Cardinals going, oh, is that Amazon really?
It's always that. Yes, I would think so.
But the entire game, you just see the Cardinals win percentage going up and to the right. I think it maxed out at like 92% halfway through the fourth quarter. That's what it felt like. It felt like the game was slowly slipping out of our hands. We forced them to take a field goal towards the end instead of going for it on like 4th and 3 close to the end zone. Which Greg Olsen had a great point. I don't know if you were listening to the broadcast. He had such a great point about kicking that field goal there to go up 6 versus going for it. And I totally agree with Greg Olsen, because he said it doesn't make sense to kick a field goal because now the offense is forced to score a touchdown. That means they're going for it on 4th down, which the Vikings then did on that next drive. They had to convert a 4th and 7, where maybe if they don't do that, if they're only down by 3, they're taking like a 50-yard field goal with a kicker that was like 2 for 3 on the day. He'd already missed one. And, I think Greg Olsen was totally validated on that, because it resulted in the Vikings winning. And, even if you don't convert as the Cardinals on that 4th and 3, the Vikings get it on the 3-yard line, and they, their offense hadn't really been getting it going all day. So that was interesting. We end up winning. Team closed out. I guess it goes back to that adage: good teams find ways to win, bad teams find ways to lose. They pulled it together. Looking at the box score, it wasn't as uneven as I thought it would be. Outside of time of possession is one thing I really felt, which also wasn't as lopsided as I thought. Just seemed like the Cardinals just had these long, grinding drives, lots of long runs. They have 154 rush yards to our 68, so that's pretty lopsided. Also going to lead to that, tilted time of possession. But yeah, we pulled it out in the end. Stephon Gilmore went out. I didn't even see how he got injured. Not sure if it's serious. Hopefully it's not serious. You have Fabian Moreau come in, who forgot where he came from. I don't think he's a rookie. I think we got him from like the Raiders is where he was last season.
Yeah, and before that, I think it was with the Skins.
Yeah, so he's bounced around. I thought he made some good plays. He had one PI called on him, which I thought was total dog shit. Like, I just felt like a really bad call on one of the PIs. On the second PI, where he straight up tackled the guy when he got beat on a go ball, that's legitimate. But overall, I thought he filled in fairly well for a guy that fills in and gets attacked a lot as a backup. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. What did you see?
Well, I thought it was really cool that Aaron Jones made up for the fumbles at the end there. That was huge. Because one, he doesn't fumble normally, and you could see he was.
He's fumbled now like 2 or 3 weeks in a row, because he fumbled last week on the goal line.
Right.
So who knows what's going on there?
Him down, they give it to Akers, didn't get anything out of it. It's like, okay, we need you back, bud. Like, you gotta lock it in. It was able to redeem himself. Like, that's. I root for that out of any team, unless it's on the Packers. Like, literally any other team. Like, I'm about that. So that was sweet. My wife was laughing. It was like, oh, look at his little feet when Kyler was going, and he's got those highlighter yellow cleats on.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, yeah, Kels, he's like 5'8", just like you,
Jeez, yeah, Mighty Mouse.
So that was funny and I think warranted. I want to throw it back to you just for a minute. Obviously, this is not the game to make that assertion that I'm about to. So it's more of a harkening the last couple games, and then more so for the question in the future. Do you think Flores' scheme is getting found out now? Because we hypothesized beginning of the year it's probably going to be found out by better quarterbacks or by the end of the season, just as you get more tape on it. Like, we saw, obviously, we got the sack when it mattered at the end. We saw pressure, had to make quick throws, didn't convert them all, which was the whole point. So where are you at with this defense now, midway through the season? Which we know if it's carried the team, it didn't carry the team. I guess it didn't close it for the team because it did keep them in the game.
Yeah, honestly, I would say no. It hasn't been figured out. Honestly, if I want to theory craft a little bit, I would say the Vikings feel good about their playoff chances, and KOC's saying, hey, keep some of those exotic looks in the bag. Let's stick to our base defense. Let's get good at playing. Base defense, with a lot of those disguises. I don't think it's been figured out. The defense has kept us in the game. It was a low-scoring game until the fourth quarter, or at least late into the third, when I think the Cardinals they got that. I think it was a deep pass interference. I don't know. I don't think it's been figured out. We haven't gotten. What's the most points that have been scored on us all year? We haven't really had a ton of high points against games. But no, I don't. I think it's more of like a talent thing. I think if we had more talent up front on the interior D line, that would make a world of difference.
Lions scored 31 on you.
And that's the Lions. I mean, they're putting up like mad numbers on teams. So I'll take 31.
Yeah, it was Lions 31-29 week 7. The next that you lost to them, you lost to the Rams week 8, 30-20. And then the next closest score was 30-27. You beat the Bears, so they put up 27 points.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it's starting to get up there a little bit more, but again, it's still well within the threshold for winning more.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'll say this. The defense is more figured out than it was at the beginning of the year when it was fairly fresh. I think it even looks a little different to where it was last season when Brian Flores was brought in. I feel like we're seeing a lot more mixed up coverages where you're not seeing them just play zone all game or just play man. They're really mixing that up. And so I think teams are figuring out the tendencies, but I don't think it's been fully solved yet. The Cardinals did as good as they did this game because they could run it on us, and that was basically it. And I think maybe that's defense look a little gassed at times. They might be a little tired. Hell, they live in Minnesota, and it just hit the time of the year where it's 10 degrees and pitch dark out at 4 p.m. It has a psychological effect on people. I don't think football players are immune to that. Maybe they're just a little tired, a little down, not able to dig as deep in the trenches. So that's what I would write it up to or ascribe it to. I wouldn't necessarily say the defense has been figured out.
Yeah, I thought this was interesting, and not to sound like sacrilege, but so these are two hot teams, and like the Cardinals were brought up in the infographic, like one of the hotter teams in the league right now, and they did put up 400 yards of offense against you, which was not a number I was even close to expecting from them.
Mm-hmm.
But also equally as shocking, they almost single-handedly lost because of one player. They tied in 3 false starts and a holding call. They had 10 penalties for almost 100 yards in a game where you lost by a point and could have easily sealed the deal without a couple of those penalties. It so felt like watching the end of some of these Bears games, dude. Like it's just self-imploded. Better disciplined team gets it, like for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was really interesting too. Driving down, it was the second to last drive. It was you got to have it drive for the offense for the Vikings. They checked to this trips wide Addison bubble screen. I was shocked that they gave Addison that screen there and let JJ block with the tight end out there. I thought for sure that was either going to be Naylor or JJ. He didn't score, but it was a good little chunk of money.
Addison's good with the ball in his hands. He's a small guy, but he's really tough. He's really feisty. He's quick. He's got agility to make guys miss, and he fights through tackles a lot better than you'd expect for someone his size.
Sure. Another thing I thought was interesting, you guys stayed really healthy so far on defense, with the exception of Pace last week. And obviously you mentioned Gilmore, but it's like so far you're healthy and you have a depth of pass rushers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've got 4. That's huge. Most teams don't have 3.
Yeah. I mean, between Grenard, Ginkle, Pat Jones, and Dallas Turner. Yeah, that's a nice depth right there. And there's even one other guy that I'm going to throw. I won't throw it out yet because I'm saving my Crown'em for him. But had a big game today. I'll save it for Crown'em. But yeah, solid depth. I think we just need some better like interior. Like we just need some brutes on the inside. Something like a Dexter Lawrence or, every team wants a Dexter Lawrence or a freaking Ndamukong Suh or Vita Vea. Yeah, everyone wants. Like that would really put us over the top though. Harrison Phillips is great, but I don't think he's too nice. He's not biggish or brutish enough.
Sure.
One guy.
So I want to add.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No, you go for it.
Go.
I was gonna say there's one name we haven't brought up.
My question is going to be tailored towards the next game.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say there's one name that we haven't brought up at all, which is Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold turned in a Sam Darnold performance. Honestly, pretty reminiscent of a Kirk Cousins performance, I would say. He did just enough to win us the game. You wish you saw a little more out of him. In the middle parts of that game, he was a little quieter. Offense, again, consistent theme. Offense kind of just lost momentum and was having trouble getting things going. But when he needed him to come through, he came through with just some absolute daggers. There's an absolute bullet to Justin Jefferson. There's got to be a great angle camera angle of this shot somewhere because it's like two defenders diving and the ball just splits them perfectly and hits Jefferson right in the chest. Great throw. And, solid stats, solid QB rating, no interceptions, but like he could have had at least a couple. He hit a couple defenders in the hands. So, maybe, I'm calling out the Chiefs for being lucky. Vikings have some luck of their own. But yeah, Darnold just with another Darnold-y performance. He used his legs a few times, which I really like. He had some great escapability, something you can't say with Kirk. He's much more mobile, much more nimble in the pockets. Shook off at least 2 sacks that would have taken Kirk down. Made a couple good runs, I thought, which is honestly I think the biggest improvement from Kirk to Sam Darnold, even though I think they're very similar. Their performance is very similar when you look like year over year. It feels like a system where the quarterback, you can like switch in and out the quarterback and you're going to get relatively the same results, more or less, or you're going to take the same shots. But the mobility of Sam Darnold really has stuck out the last 3 weeks, and I think it's helped us win some really close games. So like seeing that.
So let me put that back on you too. So quarterback position, you guys took on Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Is he a guy that's going to win you a game in Darnold's absence, regular season I'm talking? And then how do you feel if it comes down to a playoffs? Obviously, he beat you guys in the playoffs last year or two, but that wasn't a Daniel Jones win. That was the rest of the team being able to elevate and carry him.
No, no. I was at that game. That was the Donatel defense is what carried Daniel Jones because he just, all of his receivers had
you from winning.
Yeah, it was just god awful. He looked like freaking Joe Montana. But to your question, does he win? I mean, I would love. How great a story would that be if Daniel Jones came in and won some playoff games for us? That would be incredible. I mean, and, KOC has a history. Look at last year of winning with backup QBs that are new to the system. You got Josh Dobbs. He's winning games with Nick Mullins. Who's the other one I'm forgetting? There was someone else he won with last year. Nick Mullins, Josh Dobbs. I thought there was one more. Yeah. Maybe not. Maybe it was just those two. Those two plus Kirk. We were getting wins. But I think it's possible. I think if, one of the things the broadcasters were calling out on the broadcast was that.
It was the rookie. What was his name? 16, not Pace.
From BYU. Hall.
Jaron Hall?
Jaron Hall. Yeah. Well, okay, but did he even play a full game? I know he had one drive against the Falcons where he got injured.
He was 16.
But you're right. You're right, though.
Nick Mullins, Jaron Hall, Josh Dobbs, Kirk Cousins were the quarterbacks last year.
Yeah, I think there might have been one game.
He won, though, to your point.
There might have been one game where he won, although the one game he started, he got himself concussed on the first drive, getting a touchdown, and then we won the game. So, I'll give him the win, But yeah, something the broadcaster said on the broadcast was something to the effect of the Vikings have, I don't know how they get this statistic, but it's either like they have the most first read receptions or first read successes. So something I think that's really great and a huge strength of Kevin O'Connell is kind of making it easy and scheming guys open that are the primary read. I think it goes a long way for when you have someone that's, they get Daniel Jones last week, playoffs, or 5-6 weeks, enough for him to get a handle of the offense and be able to run at least a simplified version of the offense. So yeah, I would love to see it. Yeah, I think that would be a cool story, and add to the KOC legacy of just like killing with everyone's throwing away quarterbacks. That would just be so fun.
Island of Misfit Toys there. Okay,
yeah.
So where I'm at right now is, do you have any other comments? Otherwise, I'm going to ask you for your 3-word, and then I'm going to jump into next week's game against the Falcons. So any closing thoughts on today's game against the Cardinals?
No, I think we covered ground there. Okay, I'll throw out one other statistic.
Yep.
Vikings rushing leaders, 3 of them tied, 22 yards apiece. Darnold, Aaron Jones, Cam Akers. That's just interesting to me. Kind of funny, kind of interesting. Tough day on the ground for us.
Well, they only had 4. Jones had 5 and then 4 and 4 carries each. So it's like you didn't even really.
We didn't have that many plays. Yeah, I mean, it's not like Darnold was slinging it around the yard all game either. He had less than 30 pass attempts, I'm pretty sure. Maybe right around 30.
Right. A 10-minute difference in TOP. It's like, it doesn't seem like much on the box score, but I mean, really, it's a thing.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. So hit me with a question for next week.
Well, hit me with your 3 words first.
Oh, three
for this
words.
game to recap this game. So remember the any 3 words. We've been getting away with murder for the hyphenations and can be good, bad, and different. However you want to go. Obviously, mine's been Eberflus a lot. So, Stalin, to give you a chance to jump in there. What do you think for your final 3 for Cards versus Vikings?
3 words for the Vikings. There's a chance. There's a chance we win the NFC North. There's a chance we can win some playoff games. There's a chance we could go to the Super Bowl. I'm not going to go as far as saying we could win the Super Bowl because I'm a Vikings fan, but this team just finds ways to win and not in as fluky ways as the Chiefs do. The end of game play calling and execution have been what has pushed us over the top. And listen, we're 10-2. We'd be the top of most divisions. We just have those dirty Lions keeping us out of that top spot, but there's a chance. We look good when the team supports itself. Offense, right. I wouldn't say the offense necessarily won the game or like what's the word I'm looking for? Carried the defense. I would say the offense carried the defense, but they did what they had to do to get the win. So 3 words. There's a chance. There's a chance at a lot of things for the Vikings.
I can dig it. So we're looking ahead. Next week, you guys play Atlanta at home at noon. You bring Kirk Cousins back, who's fresh off a loss. Atlanta's now 6-6. They lost 17-13 to the Chargers today in Harbaugh. They put up some offense today. They put up 350 yards of offense against that Chargers defense, but ultimately Kirk Cousins goes for no touchdowns and 4 picks. Bijan had 100 yards and a touch. McLeod had 95. London had 86. Like they were moving the ball pretty well. Kirk is sliding the last couple weeks. You start seeing tweets about put Penix in, yada yada. Their division still is not great, being the NFC South. So what are you looking forward to? What are you afraid of? Concerns, comments, just initial thoughts about how this game's going to look?
Well, first of all, I think they'd be I think it would be very dumb to bench Kirk Cousins going into the Vikings, given that he has history against the Brian Flores defense. And fair. Additionally, like throwing in a rookie against the Brian Flores defense seems like a surefire way to lose. And I think if you're in the playoff hunt, which they are, being in the NFC South, I think Kirk definitely gives you your best chance to win. I'm actually going to be at the game. Me and the wife have tickets there. I'm such a great husband. I get her Vikings tickets every year for her birthday.
Hell yeah.
More of a gift for me, perhaps, but she enjoys it. What am I looking for? I hope we get after the quarterback. If we can't sack Cousins like 5 times, I'm going to be sad. That being said, Kirk will know they're coming for him. He's probably going to be getting the ball out extremely quickly. That being said, I think the keys to victory for the Vikings are just get ahead early. If they can get back to their formula from the beginning of the season where they start out with a touchdown, their defense gets 1 stop. I think it's over for the Falcons if they're forced to throw and they need long developing plays. Kirk's gonna get eaten alive. I would think. So that's what I'm looking for. Hopefully it's a good game. It'll be interesting to see the crowd's reaction to Kirk throughout the day. Should be a fun game.
Yeah. I'm all about that because that's something too. Pressure was my number 1 question on both sides of the ball. Because I honestly don't know enough about the Atlanta defense, but
me neither.
Get Kirk on a pedestal, like who knows what's going to happen there. So they're technically first in their division at 500, with the Buccaneers at 5-6. Which I think did that game just wrap up? The game is still going on. Oh, they're in overtime right with Carolina. So
wow,
really, what does that tell you?
Yeah.
And I think Baker got destroyed.
Oh no, it looks like game just ended. Tampa Bay won.
Nice. They won. There you
go. Yes.
All right. So now they're going to be tied to whoever's got the tiebreaker for getting that. Okay. So, I think there's a lot of good things here, but being division lead, they're definitely going to be incentivized to try and keep that lead on their own account. It's going to be fun. I think it's going to be interesting. I think the Minnesota fans seem like the fans that care the most in the league about having a guy back or having the homegrown or having a guy that they've been emotionally tied to and like actually caring
Mm-hmm.
about that. So I think that'll be fun to see, at least for you, like you'll be in the stadium. Um, what people have to say about that.
Um, yeah, I do think he'll get a warm reception. That being said, Kirk was a very divisive guy amongst the Vikings fan base. I'll go as far as to say he might have been the most divisive player on the Vikings in my entire lifetime. I can't think of a guy that the fan base was so divided on. It's racking my brain here.
Holy cow.
I mean, even like Christian Ponder, like people were mostly like he's not fair. He's only good at handing the ball off to Adrian Peterson. He was just people were very split on Kirk. I think he'll get some warm applause. He might get some cheering.
You got Blair Walsh, you got Brett Favre, you got Sidney Rice up and down. I mean, you got Herschel Walker trade. I mean, you got a lot going to talk about there.
First of all, Herschel Walker was before my time. I said in my lifetime. Blair Walsh universally hated. He didn't create division. Everyone hated him after he missed that field goal in Seattle. Sidney Rice, I don't even think he's in the conversation for controversial Vikings. Even if he was up and down. I think there'll be some jeers. It's just going to be, it'll be a fun atmosphere based on what Kirk does against the Vikings. It's just going to be a fun game. It's going to be a fun game one way or the other. If he slices and dices us, I can laugh at it. Like, that'll be funny. If we kill him, that's going to be great too.
Hell yeah. Oh, that'll be great.
Yeah.
All right. So, final thoughts on the Atlanta game coming up.
That's it. Let's hit Kirk. Let's score points. That's it.
There you go.
Should we switch gears? You got something on your mind?
Yeah.
Any like major topics to discuss about the Bears this week?
Caleb had a good game.
He did. Caleb continues to impress.
I'm glad. I still don't know whose decision it was actually, because the Bears have this hierarchical bullshit organization. So, like in a situation like this, it's the GM's decision. There's no question about it. They should have not let the guy get on the plane. That's not really a thing. So, like that night when they get back to Chicago, they should have fired him. But instead, they let him go on his 9 a.m. routine. Then great. They actually did it. Like, holy shit. It was the GM, the ownership, the president, Kevin Warren. Like, they're all talking, trying to figure this out. And they're considering all of the sides, the fan side, the business side, the football side, the consistency, the legacy, all this stuff. Who cares? We knew 3 weeks ago you had to be gone. So I'm glad they finally did it. And they came out. It was weird to me. The only person that talked to the media when this happened was that Eberflus talked to the media for his press conference. Then that was done. Then there was no one else came out and addressed the media. They gave statements, and the statements led it to believe that it was Ryan Poles' decision, meaning Kevin Warren didn't pull the trigger, and neither did McCaskey make him do it or have an influence over it. So hierarchically, that's correct. But I would have liked to have seen a stronger show there, because now what? It doesn't really mean anything. You're saving the locker room a little bit, but you're really not pushing for the playoffs. You're just kind of saying it more to your core that's we're behind you guys more than anything. What was so interesting is that there was the pregame or the postgame like huddle in the locker room, and Eberflus comes out with the same old shit. Oh, we stuck together. That was tough. We're right there. And Jalen Johnson, our corner, has usually been one of the more vocal guys on the team, lit him up, cut him off. It's like, no, this is bullshit. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is crazy. So they had to like separate the room, and they just got Flus out of the locker room. So upon hearing that, like, how was he not let go like then?
I'll tell you why. I got thoughts on this. I
think they made the right call in letting, please.
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there. I think I'm like a second behind you right now. But my thinking is that what this tells me, that he wasn't fired after that game, as soon as that plane landed, And not even before he was at the press conference. That happens because of bureaucracy. That's because there's too much red tape. Decision makers can't make decisions. There's too many cooks in the kitchen. And you know what else? That makes total sense because Eberflus is the kind of guy that would excel in a bureaucracy. That's what I think. I think it all adds up, which sucks because that means replacing Eberflus isn't necessarily going to fix your problem. It's who's the guy above Poles? Patton? No, not Patton.
Kevin Warren.
Kevin Warren. I think he's got to go. It's like having two GMs. It's like having co-presidents. I feel like you need to give Poles more control. Probably. I'm guessing ownership is probably too involved in roster and coaching decisions. So that's why I think that all happens. It's because I read. I think it was an article in the Athletic. They were saying, well, Poles and Warren and ownership were meeting when that press conference was going on because they were trying to determine like who's going to take responsibilities. This, that, or that. It's nonsense. It's too much bureaucracy. Do what needs to be done. Figure it out. Like why it shouldn't be that hard of a decision. Like you're taking too long to make decisions, and it's because the organization just seems to have a very bureaucratic, political nature to it. It doesn't seem like a football organization. You know, it seems like something else.
Well, and the fact that it takes so long to come to that decision, you're so right. It's been a very long time, maybe since the Deshaun Watson, gate or anything else in football. I have not seen such a unanimous national answer that they still couldn't get right. Never in sports. Like that's the whole point of sports and all the media is to keep the conversation going. Like there's nothing left to talk about. Yeah. And they've been saying that for 3 weeks. And the last we're on a 6-game losing streak. 5 of those 6 games have been an epic car crash of a failure at the end. Not to mention your rookie quarterback 3 games in a row against division opponents who are top 5 teams in the league. Shit game, fourth quarter, turns it on, brings them back to either win or tie, and the coach blows it. You can't say like, okay, the Fail Mary, coach fucked that up. The blocked field goal. Well, there was a couple of plays before that could have got you more yards. You decided not to advance the ball, or at least attempt it. Coach fucked that up. He had a lower trajectory on the kick. The Vikings game. Okay, that went to overtime at least, but still fucked that up. Detroit. We all know what happened there. But think about it. That's a 10-2, an 8-4, and a 11-12-1. Like, or 12-2, whatever that. It's like these are good teams, and your rookie, despite your coaching, is getting you there. So F everybody who's against Caleb Williams because he's doing it despite everything. I'm glad they put Thomas Brown in there. I don't know if it means anything, but he's the only coach on our staff with potential. In that regard, like our defensive coordinator could have done it just from a leadership standpoint, but he's not a candidate anywhere. Thomas Brown got head coaching, like we said last week, he got head coaching views last year. Mm-hmm. He's done the assistant head coach with McVay, who's known as a great coach, like not only with play calling, but situationally.
Yeah.
And they've won a Super Bowl. So, and recently, I just too little too late. Like this year, it's really just keep Caleb healthy, keep him developing, have an answer about Thomas Brown. I don't think it works just because the interim thing doesn't usually work. But when we get outside of the building and we look at the landscape of who's available, Ben Johnson's the one that everyone's saying. That would be cool. It's not like a Nagy situation where Nagy called plays for a year with Brad Childress as his mentor during that season. Like Ben Johnson's done it for 3 years in a row. Granted, he has the best offensive line in the league 3 years in a row. Like that, anybody can call plays with the best offensive line in the league. But I just don't know. The other side of that is the Bears will never do it. But Vrabes seems like, to me, the leader of men that any team would want. And you'll figure out Mike Vrabel. You'll figure that out. Like those are my only 2 names that I want to know more about. I'm not even saying they need to be the guy right now. Belichick, no, too old. Not going to do that. Not going to retread. Kingsbury, I'm out on that too because
I thought you were just saying you were looking into last week. I thought you said Kingsbury was one of your top head coach prospects for the Bears. Or were you just saying he's the most likely?
A couple weeks ago.
Okay.
That was most likely after the Fail Mary. So that was 5-6 weeks ago. Come on, we live in a different world now.
Of course.
But I don't want to skip ahead in the crown. I'm going to give you an honorable mention to my crown though. is you did call this flakiness with Eberflus at the beginning of the year. Your radar was going off. I didn't want to believe it just because of everything on paper. But yeah, he's kind of a weird dude.
He's got no
and
aura,
to the
man.
bureaucracy part, that's something that's not news to Bears fans. The bureaucracy end that you brought up, which is a great point, is that we know, and we've talked about this on the show before, is that you need a badass motherfucker to either be your coach or a couple in the locker room. And the Bears have none. They want the guy like Dick Duran did it, Wanstead. You got every Trestman, Mike, John Fox, like they all go to church with Virginia, and that's the thing, choir boys and blah blah blah. It's just not how you run a football organization.
Agreed.
So I got that off my chest. Okay, moving forward, we have the toughest schedule in the league. I mean, next week we have the Niners, who are the worst team we have to play the rest of the year, and then we have Vikings, Detroit, Seattle, Green Bay. So it's not going to go great. Don't get hurt. Continue to progress. Our offensive line isn't going to get better. We're not going to get healthier. Don't lose the locker room. I really think with Thomas Brown, his demeanor is no bullshit. Maybe you'll get a chance now that he's on the national level to witness just his aura. Aura is a word that the team's been using for the last couple of weeks. Even as a man, like watch him the next couple of weeks, because you think about it this way. 19 or 20 days ago, I think it's a day of on Thursday, it was 18 days. He was the pass game coordinator.
I'm glad you brought this up because I was going to bring this up.
Yeah, it's like, I don't even know who this dude is. Really, he's kind of in meetings, but then sort of, and then he's the offensive coordinator. So then for 2 games, and then out to a third, 3 games in 18 days, you're now the interim head coach. Now, he was interviewing for head coaches. I'm not saying he can't do it. Maybe that just shows how crazy the league is for missing this on this guy, or how fucked the Bears are. Oh, well, Shane Waldron's got more experience, so we're just going to go with him. Like, what do you, the Office Space guy? I was like, oh, that would be great. What'd you say it is you do here? Like, fuck. So I think that's going to be really fun to watch. If nothing else, like, again, I'm on board. I want it to work. But from the coaching standpoint, you can't just blame it on Flus. So, I mean, like, I have to relook at how I look at polls this whole offseason too. Yeah, I'm kind of just going down a rant and I've lost my direction, but it's all just, we've seen most of this coming. So I'm going to let you take over for a few comments there too, because I know you were ready to talk about it.
No, I was just going to call out the fact that in the span of 18 days, Thomas Brown goes from passing game coordinator to offensive coordinator to head coach. Yeah. What a glow up. Good for him. Hopefully that comes with a little extra pay or salary or something.
It will. So to that end, before we jump ahead though, I had a graphic here. Our boy Flus still has 2 years plus this season on his deal.
I love this one.
In that math, he will be making $13 a minute around the clock, $799 a day, almost $20,000 a day. Excuse me. So $799 an hour, $20,000 a day for the next 2 1/3 years.
I think he'll be doing just fine.
Oh, no, he'll be fine. And he's not getting a head coaching job ever. He'll get a coordinator job for sure. But I also get it. Like, it's from a business standpoint, yeah, it looks incompetent because it was a fail. But just how crappy they were, you can't pay a guy enough to take that job. You're the worst team in the league, going for worse than that just to get the first-round pick. Like, your job might be secure anyway, so you might have to tack on 5 years. Like, the Panthers did that for 6 to Canales. He's got a 6-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows if he lasts? He's got Bryce playing a little bit better the last couple of weeks, but like, you just have to pay guys to take the job. The same thing with the Houston coach that had the 1 year before they got the coach in there now. It was Dave Culley. Mm-hmm. He had never been a coach before. He was just a fall guy for a year. They gave him a 4-year deal, but he only coached 1, and they kind of knew that was going to be the deal. So it just kind of comes with the incompetent territory, right?
Sure.
So I've got my 3, if you've got nothing else to talk about with this game, because it was so long ago and we're not even talking about the game. It was more, we all know how the game
aftermath.
It was Caleb 2 for 6 for 6 yards. Oh, wow. I saw Cutler do this on Thanksgiving. I saw Trubisky do this on Thanksgiving. Like, okay. And then he comes back 230 some yards and 3 touchdowns, bring him back striking distance to win. Like, it was crazy. So that was sweet. Yeah. Any other topics on this? Otherwise, I got my 3-word.
Nope. Hit me with your 3 words.
Okay. Game day 3 words was fire the coach. Now that we've had a chance to simmer down a little bit, it's Halle fucking Hallelujah.
Nice. You guys have been saved.
I know I'm taking liberties there, but yeah.
Even if you lose, at least you're not losing under Eberflus.
Yeah, it's not even that we're saved. It's just that there might be the tantalizing tease of hope, you know? And again, there's not really much for me to talk about because next week we're going to the Niners. So we're going to be in California playing this game at 3:15. And yeah, I mean, try not to get hurt, try and show a couple things, grow, try not to win too many games. I'm never one to advocate tanking because you can tell like that culture.
It's bad for the culture.
Organization. Yeah. But, wink, wink,
Yeah, I'm pulling up something for a point after we crown him. So do you want to go ahead and crown him real quick while I'm pulling something up on the side here?
For sure. So I'll reiterate my first crown, which was to you on the Eberflus. Your spidey senses were going off. They were spot on. You saw it the whole way. Good for you, man. I didn't want to believe it, but I mean, yeah, I probably.
Dude, watching Hard Knocks told me all I needed when he was sitting across the table from Caleb and he's talking to him, and Caleb was just giving him these deadpan responses. I was like, oh, Caleb hates this motherfucker. Like, this is not going to work out between these two where he's, Eberflus is trying to say something and Caleb is giving those like, yeah. It's like, I'm saying yes, but in my head, I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? Kind of responses. I'm like, it's done for Flus. It's done.
Oh, yeah. I love it. Yeah, so good on you there, dude. And then my second one is going to go to my alma mater high school, Nazareth Academy in Illinois.
Okay.
They just won their 6th state title.
God dang.
Their first one was in 2014. So they've won 6 titles in 10 years. And this is their 3rd year in a row winning the title.
Yeah, so as soon as I got you out of there, they just started crushing, huh?
Well, someone had to set the culture.
There it is. Okay. I like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, my little brother ended up winning one in 14 or 16 or something like that. But, yeah, 3 in a row. And for those who don't know, in Illinois, we've got 8 classes, not just 4.
Jesus.
So we've won 4. We've won a title in 4A, 5A, 6A, 7A. And I don't know if we did the 8A one or not, but every time you win one, you go up a class for your playoff seating. Your conference is still the same, but who you get matched for in playoff. So we've been able to grow in that because we're a small school. It's like 700 kids, right?
Oh, wow, yeah.
So we get multipliers and all that type of stuff. So go Naz, go Roadrunners, all that jazz.
Dope.
Those are my 2. What are you thinking for your crownums this week?
I got a very simple one. Crown him to a guy you've probably never even heard unless you're paying attention to the broadcast. Jalen Redmond. Undrafted defensive end rookie this year. Bounced around. He was drafted by the Panthers. Got cut. Went to the XFL. And then ended up signing to the Vikings practice squad. Made it to the game today. And had some huge run stops when we needed them so badly. Like, they're running all over us. And he had 2 or 3 plays where he just showed up and he got some TFLs. I don't know if he got 2 or 3 or maybe just 1, but man, did he show up. And for just a total no-name guy to make some big, splashy, like, direly needed plays, you just love to see it. He got a game ball from KOC in the post-game speech. So yeah, shouts out Jalen Redmond. No one else really standing out to me too much. Aaron Jones, obviously rough game. No one on the offense standing out a ton. Shaq Griffin, maybe he gets a mini crown for, or is it Shaq Griffith? Or Griffin? I don't even know his name. But for Griffin, sealing it with the interception. But yeah, I think the big one for me is just Jalen Redmond. Loved it. Hopefully he builds on it, but god dang, did we need him today to make those plays.
Love that. Dude, I love the Zero to Hero story like that too.
Yep.
So where it sits now, I haven't taken a huge dive into my fantasy, but I'm sitting here. I'm definitely out of the playoffs in one. I think I'm going to squeak my way into one here. I might lose my way out of another. So we'll see how that all ends up going there. How are you feeling this week?
Oh, it is a brutal fantasy week for me. Just losses all across the board. Work league, I've already been eliminated in. Luckily, main league, I've more or less. Let's see here. I have a 98% chance to win the playoffs, so I'm not too worried about the loss in that league. Family league, I also thought I was fighting for a playoff spot because I was really I was scratching and clawing my way to 4th place. Then I found out we have 8 freaking playoff spots.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm getting blown out there as well, so I'm gonna lose. But at this point of the season, as long as I'm making the playoffs, that's all that matters. I don't think I've ever actually had a first round bye in the playoffs. But
Really?
I don't think I've ever gotten there. No, I feel like everyone always says this, but I consistently have top 3 most points against every year, every league I play in. Everyone just seems to go off against me more so than other teams. But
Yeah.
sorry, nothing I can't handle. I needed Saquon to have 40 points tonight. Looks like he had 20, so not quite enough. Granted, I guess I'm still in it, so I still have Elijah Moore playing, who I had to pick up. I just need him to get a cool 40 points. Am I doing that? Yeah, I just need him to put up 40 points.
All right. Well,
I can squeak out a win there. Yeah, so not a great fantasy week. My pick'em league, absolutely terrible. Just bad news all around for me this week. But no, luckily I've had enough success that shouldn't stop me from getting into the playoffs.
That's encouraging because we have next week is week 14. A lot of buys next week, but usually that is where most league seasons end. The regular season, then going into the playoffs, you got 15, 16, 17. Totally just knocked off my light there. So
really, that's a long playoffs. Usually I just do 2 weeks. I do 4 teams, 2 weeks, 16 and 17.
Is that 15? Maybe it is 15, 16. Maybe you're right there.
Well, no, I'm saying 16, 17. Now that it's an 18-week season, it's usually when I've done it.
You might be right because this is our second year with that too. I'm curious. All right, let's see real quick. Loading.
Classic janky family league, though. I will say we have 8 teams going into the playoffs, so it's a 3-week playoff system, and it ends on week 18. Which I need to talk to my uncle, who's the commish. I gotta talk to him about not doing the championship on week 18 because that's tough. That's bad. all the best players on the best teams are going to be resting, so it's
right. So I got 2 10-man leagues and then a 16. So the 2 10-man leagues are 16 playoffs. Week 15, 16, and 17 are the playoffs. So that's why I was thinking of that.
So it is 3 weeks with 6 teams.
Yeah, with because I think 1 and 2 probably get a bye.
Oh, sure. Okay.
And then the 2 teams that lose the first round but go into a consolation or something. I don't know. So try not to be too pathetic. I'm gonna lose 126. The guy's gonna get 147. I'm not gonna I need Sutton to put up 20, and I need Njoku to put up 20. It's not impossible, but I need
quite unlikely.
No, that's wrong. I need 36. So 20. I need 23 out of them. Yeah, it's gonna be
tough.
No, this other one, more or less, is possible, but that's the thing. Sucks. It's I'm 3rd place and I could slide to 7th real quick, because this is the league where everybody's all 7 and 5, so it's oh no, could lose it real quick.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're getting close on time, but let's go around the North real quick because I'll start by asking you this question: what are the odds the Vikings end up with the NFC North title?
Jeez, what a good question.
Yeah, give me a percent. Give me a percentage here, because I'm looking at the standings right now. I'll let you think. I'll give you something to chew this over. I'm looking at the remaining schedules for the Lions, the Vikings, and I threw the Packers in as well. We've talked about the Bears schedule. Honestly, tough schedule for them all because we all play each other. NFC North is playing each other. Lions, outside of the NFC North, have to play the Bills.
Packers, Bills, Bears.
They have to play the Bills and the Niners. Tough. Those are some tough non-NFC North teams. I can see them dropping at least one, if not both. In addition to losing to either the Packers or even the Bears or the Vikings, because division games are crazy. Vikings, outside of the NFC North, they're playing the Falcons and the Seahawks, what I would consider much more winnable games than 49ers and Bills, which then leads us to the last game of the season, Vikings versus Lions. I think it could very well come down to the last game of the season to determine that title, which would be sweet. And then my next question, if we split, what do you know what the tiebreaker is after? Is it record against the division? Is the split after head-to-head record?
Correct. It would be record, head-to-head record, and then record against the division, and then after that, it's.
But we'd have to go past that
I think.
because I don't think Detroit and the Vikings haven't lost to anyone in the division besides each other. If the Vikings win that last game, say the
'Cause
Vikings and Lions,
then it might be like point spread then in those games.
I think it's gosh. Well, hopefully the Bears do us a solid or the Packers do us a solid and knock one off
Of the three of us, the Packers have the easier schedule.
Yeah, they have the Saints in there.
They have Seattle, Saints, Vikings, Bears.
So it really comes out to Packers versus Saints, Seahawks, Lions versus Bills. What did I just say? Bills and.
I'm looking at it too. So
Bills, Niners, Packers.
I mean, as far as
go ahead.
Ease of schedule, Packers have the easiest. You guys have the second easiest, and Lions have the hardest, I think, to close out the year in our division. And you're all a game different, dude. I gotta start looking like who's inside, outside. Like Bears at home, in Seattle in the cold at Christmas, home against the Packers, which would be good. And then so you guys finish with 2 dome games. Detroit finishes at Chicago, which would suck, at San Francisco, which would be favorable, and then home versus you guys, which is a dome game. Packers outside against Seattle, outside Seattle, outside Saints, inside Vikings, outside Bears. Bears might have something to prove week 18. Not something to play for, but something to prove.
Yeah, that's the Packers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really worried about the Packers too much. I feel like they've also gotten a bit lucky.
Up though, dude.
I feel like they've been getting a bit lucky.
They've had 3 games. Really? Okay, so they beat the Bears on the block at the end there.
Exactly.
They smoked San Francisco. There's 38-10 San Francisco at San Francisco. At home, and then they beat.
Yeah, but Purdy was like a little injured for that game. I feel like that roster was a little beat up going into that.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know if I can put a number on it right now. Like you guys are making the playoffs in my opinion, but the division, the way how physical the Lions are, that's the one stat that'll be interesting to watch. Is I think we called this out maybe 3 weeks ago. Is the teams that play the Lions win or lose? Every team at that point in the season had lost their next game.
Yeah, because they beat you up so much.
So we'll see what that means for the Bears. Maybe not, because you got an extra 3 days. You got Friday, Saturday, Sunday to recover. You got a mini bye. But there's something not to be. Well, I guess them in the weather. You guys, dude, I'm a homer for the weather in the end of the season though.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys finish in dome games though. Yeah, you guys, I don't know, too close to call. Check with me again in like 2 weeks.
Okay. I was going to put it at like 30% chance Vikings can get the division. Okay. 65% Lions, 5% Packers come out on top in a fluky way. You really just haven't seen a chink in the Detroit Lions armor yet. You're just waiting for that weak game where they're off or they kind of win in a fluky way, and they just keep winning so convincingly. It's hard to see them losing. But as a Vikings fan, these last few weeks with all the NFC North matchups, it's going to make things so crazy. It's going to be some good football.
Dude, it's going to go by so quick too. I mean, you got to really cherish your Sundays now.
Yes, I know. Sad times when playoffs are over. Draft hasn't happened yet. That is just the dark times to be an NFL fan. Got to actually do something else with my life.
Right, and to think that it's been 3 weeks of season, 3 months of season that's already gone by, 4 months if you count the preseason. It's already been a quarter calendar year. We got another month and a half to go before playoffs, but it's like this is flying by, dude.
Yeah. Well, enjoy it while you can, like you said.
Right. Well, that's all I've got for today. It's going to be a long week. I'm excited to watch. We're recording this right now. Oh, it's 7:18 Central Time. We got the
You are breaking up hardcore, my friend. But yes, we got an interesting schedule coming up here.
What's going on over here?
You're back. You're back if you want to finish that thought.
No, it's gonna go quick. I'm excited about the game tonight. We got Niners at the Buffalo Bills and 2 feet of snow in New York.
This will be a fun one.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, cool. That's a good spot to wrap it. Let's go watch this snowy game. Will and Jason here from the North, Week 12. We're out.